One, welcome to LATTC Architecture Technology Program. We have developed an amazing tool for e-accrediting, where community colleges and universities can start looking at a holistic environment of all the multiple variables that affect the way we teach. So basically, there's 4 segments. You have ecology, environment, education, economy. So these are like the 5 taxonomies, and the beauty of having our own map is that we can actually turn on and off the information that we want to relate to each other, that we want to see its relationship. So for example here, I'm going to go ahead, turn on the environment layer, and it happened to be turned on. Let me turn off the neighborhood councils. And I have Los Angeles zip codes and I have Los Angeles County. I can minimize this screen. And basically this is the entire Los Angeles County, and each of these represents the zip codes. You can turn on off the zip codes. Many times you have grants and you have efforts and drivers in the city that they're not divided by zip codes, they're divided by tracts. These are by the census data or by block groups. But many times, right, because these are different, what I call regulating lines in Los Angeles, they unfortunately do not coincide. So it's sometimes kind of hard to see who's in charge of a jurisdiction. This shows the Los Angeles City Council District. So under these environment regulating lines are all the different lines that regulate our county, either for funding or so forth. So I'm going to leave the zip code so we can actually get a relationship of where we are. Another thing we can do here, these are regulating lines for transportation. I have all the city of Los Angeles streets, and I also have the major roads. We should turn on transportation, streets, major roads. And here you can see the Harbor Freeway, right? The Santa Monica Freeway, Trade Tech is somewhere here. And you can actually manipulate the lines by different colors and so on. But at least this way we get a relationship. So the very first thing here, let's say that we also want to know what are the neighborhood councils near Trade Tech. So I'm going to turn on. We have every single neighborhood council. And here we notice that that's West Adams. This is Vernon. And that's South Central. Then we can go to education. How do we regulate education? First of all, who's coming to our colleges and universities? This is very important. What are the core indicators? How many people are in the Los Angeles County getting a certificate? So here very quickly, this calls thematic mapping. And education, educational core indicators, total certificates. Sometimes you gotta refresh because it's a lot of data. We can go ahead and turn off the transportation. It's too much information. That's what I'm saying. It's good to have your own maps. And we can also turn off the neighborhood councils. Or you could actually see the relationship between those, the neighborhood councils, and then how many people have completed certificates in all the community colleges. So the darker the color, the more people that have completed certificate in that zip code. So these are some of the things, and this is what I call core indicators. We can also see educational attainment, people that have graduated from high school. Again, the darker the color, this represents the number of people. There's 640 to 2,474 people. You gotta have this layer turned on. You refresh it, and here we have people that have attained high school. You can see also how many people come to our colleges that have attained. See, not attending, students assisting community colleges that are Hispanic, younger than 18. Let's see how many students that finish from high school go to the community colleges. And again, we gotta refresh it, too much data. Not too many. The darker, so basically in this area, most of the people that graduate from high school. This is downtown LA. Now, one thing to quickly locate ourselves, let's leave that on. Let's go under education and let's look at educational providers. And here we have the community colleges. Let's turn on all our colleges for the 9 colleges. And this is the LACCD. Let's turn on. Let's start and let's refresh it. Sometimes it doesn't look the layers. So when we can, let's turn off the attainment. And let's see if that shows, let's see one more. Educational providers, Los Angeles Community, LACCD. So that should be turning on the layers. What am I doing wrong here? Turn off the indicators. There we have it. So sometimes the layers are literally like tracing paper or white paper. They cover the information from above. So these are 9 colleges, Trade Tech, City, and East. These are 9 colleges. And this also shows basically who can vote for our Board of Trustees. This is what is called the boundary lines for the community colleges. These are all the people that live in these neighborhoods can vote for our 9 colleges. So notice it's not the entire LA County. These are people that were mandated to serve. But this is what's kind of cool. Look, I'm going to go by college. And I'm going to show you all the students that come to Trade Tech. Right here. I'm going to turn on Trade Tech. And then I'm going to turn on 3 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles. So let me turn it on and off. There we have it. And then let's look at all the students that come to Trade Tech. This is what is called geocoding. We geocoded every single student that comes to Trade Tech. And very quickly you can see the 10 miles, the 3 miles, and the 1 mile. We can even find out more information about that student. You can go here under I for identify. And you click on that dot. And right now it's giving us, you got to identify what layer do you want it. It's not under the environment. It's not under, it's under educational providers. It's not the buffer. It's not the program. It's the student. So now any student I call on, here it is. It tells you the street he lives, the zip code, the ethnic, the sex, the age. This is what people are saying about security. Notice how I don't have the name of the student because of security purpose. But then what I envision here is that you can also have here what the student like, where the student is working, what student classes he passed, what is the student interested to take. So this database is not only to know who they are, but it's also how can we serve our students better. So each of these dots is a student. Why is that not showing? Oh, that's another one, Palisades, another student. So you can see here, right click, and this is what makes GIS so amazing. It's all connected to a database. So this is Excel, but it's converted to a DBS, a relational database. And you can go right here and see, these are all the students. This is only 1 semester. And at the very bottom, my screen, for some reason, I cannot zoom in. So this is every single student. So notice how you can actually say, show me all the students that are interested in taking a culinary class for wine testing. Or show me a student who would like to take some fashion class using recyclable material. Or show me students that were interested in taking Rhino. So that way you can start customizing information. Okay, so let me close. I'll move my table of content here, like make it larger, smaller. Go back to my directory. So the students taking my GIS class, you're going to be able to play with all this data. I'm not sure about the student information, but we can geocode other things that are similar. Now, for example, here, now that we have Trade Tech there, we can find out what are some of the LAUSD academies. Look at this, how cool. High school, solar school pathways that are planning to open. And let's refresh it. So these are all the different LAUSD high schools with a pathway that they're planning. And you can actually go to identify what these are. And of course, up here, you need to narrow down educational providers, unified school district, pathways. What did I say? Planning? So now when you identify them, this is the name of the school. They're planning a ninth grade academy. They don't tell you what. Let's look at another one. Performing arts. So you can see that by having this data, you can have access to, partners, other educational providers. And this is the cooler. So now that we have these for performing arts, and I'm thinking out loud here, and that's the beauty of having your own map. Now I want to know all the businesses around Trade Tech. That's why we have economy. So we downsize. This is called your directory. And organizing these taxonomy is what people call knowledge architecture, knowledge management, because it took us a long time to figure out this taxonomy, this basically file management. So now we can go by industry clusters or by businesses. And since this is a performing arts school, that's Trade Tech, and we have performing arts, let's find out all the schools or anything that has to do with performing arts. That's construction. That will show us where all the carpenters are. Well, that doesn't have much to do. But if we had to build a stage, right? And we got to find some carpenters really quick. Here are some carpentry selection industry code 175-103. Here they are, right? Even that they're not performing arts, but you can see the connection. We can go by one: mining, public administration, whole trade, construction. These will be actually under services, or you can also have it here under industry clusters, architecture, fashion. We can look at every architect there if you're having performing arts, but we're actually maybe entertainment, right? Let's turn on all the entertainment. So all of those are the entertainment businesses. We can turn off the carpenters. We finish building our stage. And right here, gonna right click and look at the attribute table. And when you look at this attribute table, notice here, so there's basically in the Los Angeles area, there is 5,662 businesses in the entertainment industry. How do I know these? Every single business is organized with what is called the standard industry code. So here you can actually organize your standard industry code and do it sorted ascending. So anything under 27,000, all the 27,000, the 59,000, the 73,000, the 78,000, all of these standard industry codes. Notice how you have theatrical producer, entertainers, bands, motion picture, videos. No wonder it's the mecca of design, right? So let me close that and turn on the industry clusters. Now that makes more sense. There we have it. So those are, notice, what is this? Sunset Boulevard, Santa Monica. Surprise? No. But you can see how, look at all the businesses on entertainment around Trade Tech. So if we have a performing arts school, we have all these entertainment businesses. Very quickly, you can find out where your advisors are or where some job opportunities you can have. Now you can click on any of these and the same configuration. You go back here. The tool is not that smart. I work with S-Ray and they're working so you don't actually, when you go identify, that's kind of clumsy. You almost have to tell this where to look at. It's not that smart where to look at. You still need to kind of, let me help you a little bit on your searching here. I'm going to tell you to look under entertainment, right? So now when you click on any of these, It tells you the street, but they also tell you how many people they employ, total number of employees. It doesn't look like a place we want to badly partner with. But what is kind of cool here is that this database, we can customize it. We can put right here who was the last one that worked there from our colleges. We can put a contact name. We can customize these Excel sheets to tell us whatever is appropriate for our accreditation and to look at opportunities for funding. So how cool is these guys, right? Isaias, 54 records. Contact Kevin Steele, that's the phone number. So it's all about location, location, location. And so the last thing I want to show you now, I turn on the industry cluster. Here are all the demographics. You can say the income. Let's look at the income in Los Angeles County. So notice how now this basically shows you income. People that make $125,000 to $427,000. Of course, that's Malibu. No surprise, right? But it's kind of interesting because here you get to see the income, the academies, trade tech, our other colleges. So that's why we need our customized map, because you know what you're looking at depending on the project that we're working on. So the beauty of these, it took us a long time to develop. This was actually funded by the governor, SB 7070. We got #1, and I've been working with this configuration with the advancement project, the healthy cities, the city of Los Angeles, CRA, census data, government agencies, and most important, data.gov, and the Federated Research Society in Washington, D.C. And it's basically how do we utilize all this immense amount of data available to us to make some sense out of it, and more than anything, to quantify and qualify better service to our students by our communities and our higher education. So something that's very interesting, this is not working, but look, you can even put like this is what's called psychographics. It's not so much how much money they make, but what do they do with the money they make? Because you can have two people making $50,000, but one person can spend it all on a bike and another person can spend it on coffees, right? So this is what is called psychographics. This is the one we're going to be populating. It's corrupted, and I think it's going to be a fantastic winter. And this is what I'm calling e-accrediting. And we're going to be augmenting to it, and then we're going to be identifying areas. Here under the environment, we have all the building information models of the colleges, and then we're going to be land use, identifying urban vacant areas in Los Angeles so we can actually retrofit it with green gardens, food gardens, bike paths, and similar to all the projects we've been working with, the project, the street project, the peace projects, and so forth, to beautify. Blue is for water, residential. This is called land use. This is zoning. This is lands. You know, the blue is all industrial. Trade tech is right there. You can zoom in, so you can see how, like, you can look at landscape. You can look at opportunities, at zoning. Who are the students that are coming? Where are the businesses? And basically, truly, information at your fingertips. Thank you. Hope you can envision a new LA.